YouTube Frogs, welcome back to a weapon comparisons video. With 3.0 and Sumeru out, our first dedicated Dendro DPS to showcase is here, Tighnari. I'll be cataloging all the possible weapon choices we currently have and balancing their stats to the best of my ability to see how all of our DPS weapons compare with each other. New bows like Hunter's Path and King's Squire will be included as R180 copies. Let's dive right into it. So, we have a bunch of possible DPS weapons from 3-star to 5-star that I'll be comparing in this video. We have 3-star Slingshot, 4-star Hamayumi, Prototype Crescent, and King Squire as our craftable weapons. And then we have Viridescent and Blackcliff at 0 stacks as our crit-based weapons. And then we also have Alley Hunter at R5, Windbloom at R5, and Stringless at R5 as our Elemental Mastery / all damage % bonus weapons. For our 5-star weapons, in their R180 form, I have Skyward Harp, Omnus Bow, Aqua Simulacra, Thundering Pulse, and of course, Hunter's Path. To also compare Polar Star, as I only have an R590 version of that, I will additionally compare this weapon with R590 Amos and R590 Aqua Simulacra, which you guys will already see their R180 counterparts, so you guys can see exactly where Polar Star lies. So, for each of these weapons, I will try my best to equalize my stats, but due to artifact variance, it's not going to be perfect. I'll be following my own recommendations from my first impressions video, link in the description if you want to check that out. These comparisons will be done with 4-piece Wanderer's Troop set, with a really crappy but relatable Dendro Goblet, with a crit rate or crit damage mass depending on the weapon, and an attack versus elemental mastery timepiece. For each of these weapons, you'll be seeing a standard rotation of elemental skill into elemental burst into 3 charge attacks, 1 rotation with no reaction, and 1 rotation with a quicken reaction using Fischl's Oz to proc. So beginning, 3-star weapons. Slingshot. This is the budget 3-star weapon choice with a high amount of crit rate for its secondary stat. Only the main Wreath arrow gains a 60% damage bonus, while the cluster boom arrows all take a 10% penalty. Overall, it's a decent budget choice for spread compositions. Four-star bows. Hamayumi first. One of 3 craftable options, all suitable for Tighnari. Hamayumi provides that slight universal charge attack bonus, making it a solid choice. Most of the time, you're not going to be full energy when you're on those charge attacks. Prototype, another one of the 3 craftable options. This one, however, does require a headshot to gain the attack % bonus, which then allows it to squeak by just a bit further than Hamayumi. With the attack % bonus not on though, it will fall behind. King's Squire. So this is the 3rd and new craftable bow option released with Inazuma. Provides a slight boost of 60 elemental mastery per rotation, allowing this bow to be slightly stronger in quicken spread situations, but weaker in a raw unbuffed situation. It's also less universal than the other 2 choices in my opinion, and the passive can only be procced once every 20 seconds. Now, for these 3 craftable bow options, Hamayumi, Prototype, and King Squire, they're all attack % secondary stat bows, allowing the build path to be an elemental mastery timepiece. Blackcliff Warbow. So, reaction-wise, it's weaker than any of the previous weapons, only barely better than the Slingshot. Generally, I wouldn't recommend it as its passive is also not universal and requires at least 1 kill to activate. Viridescent Hunt. So this is the Battle Pass bow, which mostly serves as a crit rate stat stick for easy building. It's not a bad choice, and the skill's a bit better than the craftables in a team setting with more attack and elemental mastery buffs. Alley Hunter. So this is a niche choice, but it's super strong in both situations for charge attack and burst damage. However, it does lose its damage very quickly the longer that Tighnari is on the field, so it's a viable choice if you play a quick swap based Tighnari. Windbloom Ode. Those of you who have R5 of this since 1.4 Windbloom Festival will notice a quite respectable damage output in universal situations. It's very easy to proc its passive since Tighnari's elemental skill leads his rotation, and 6 seconds is just the right amount of time for burst plus 3 charge attacks. Stringless. This is better and stronger of a weapon the higher uptime your burst is. So it loses value if your rotation goes beyond 12 seconds for his burst, requiring a 20 to 24 second rotation and more charge attacks. It's optimized in a more reliable energy funneling composition where his burst can be used off cooldown every 12 seconds. Now for 5-star weapons at R180. This will be separate to R590 so that I can include the Polar Star. Almost Bow. This is gone used best in slot that becomes a viable option for Tighnari. However, it's not as strong as you'd expect for a 5-star since the rotation does consist of burst damage, which almost does not benefit at all from its passive. It's still a great attack percent stat stick though, that performs well for a charge attack spam. Thundering Pulse. So for this weapon, even if its normal attack passive here is completely useless for Tighnari since you're not normal attacking, it still provides solid crit damage and attack percent that universally works well with him. It even ekes out in front of the Almost Bow due to how the crit damage and attack percent improve his burst. Aqua Simulacra. This is Yelan's recent signature weapon that proves to be a universally powerful DPS bow. Its only caveat is staying within a decent close range for the 20% increased damage dealt, but that's not difficult for Tighnari. Skyward Harp. This is your standard crit rate, crit damage, standard banner stat stick with extra passive damage. It performs on par with most of the 5-star choices. So honestly, you can't go wrong with it, but you can always improve off of it. And finally, Hunter's Path. This is Tighnari's signature and is specifically tailored for his high hit count but low multiplier damage. The passive here adds a Shenhe/Yunjin buff to his charge attack, which allows this weapon to exceed all other 5-star and 4-star choices at the same level refinement by at least 5%. Now for my 5-star weapons at R590. I'm including this because I don't have Polar Star at R180. It's really important to showcase this bow because it's really good for Tighnari. Arguably one of his best 3 bows. So at R590, it is a massive crit rate stat stick. It also provides burst damage increase and has 4 stack attack percent. It's also really easy to proc the 4 stacks. You just make sure you normal attack at the beginning of his rotation, and then naturally you'll be able to do elemental skill, burst, and charge attack. This bow has impressive DPS. You'll notice that it's comparable to Aqua. Almost Bow R5. So you guys have seen the R180 version of this weapon compete with the other choices. Against the Polar Star R590, it starts to significantly fall off due to no buffs to burst damage. However, it is still respectable as a standard banner option, and a lot of you guys may have multiple refinements on it. Aqua R590. So now that we can clearly see the difference between an R180 and an R590 Aqua, Polar Star becomes a lot more comparable and on par with Aqua. Their refinements scale relatively equally as well, though not perfect, but in general this is pretty much what you can expect, that both of them perform on average equally. And that should be 15 to 16 beautiful bows showcased for Tighnari's DPS. Some weapons obviously have more attack or more elemental mastery than other bows, so your build path should be tailored to your specific needs. In general, this provides a good baseline to where all the DPS weapons fall on his DPS scale. The craftable bows sit comfortably for F2P players, and for my dolphin/whales, you guys should be able to see how much stronger Hunter's Path is compared to other weapons and if it'd be worth to pull. In general though, I find that no matter what bow you choose for him, he'll perform as expected. For my personal recommendations, for the 5 stars, I'd lean towards the Hunter's Path due to his signature, and then prefer Aqua Simulacra and Polar Star for the universal strength on both his charge attack and burst damage. For the 4-star weapons, I find that the craftables should be all fine. Keep using the one that you already have at high refinement. Iridescent Hunt I like due to its crit rate stat, helping my builds reach 70 to 80% crit rate for higher consistent damage. The only weapon that I'd stray away from is Blackcliff, because against single enemy boss abyss chambers, it provides no value. Other than that, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like if this helped your Tighnari building, and as always, we'll see you next time. Take care.